Hello, this is RV Vagabond Jerry, and in my travels I have three vehicles: my motorhome, my big scooter, and my little scooter. The little scooter is a mobility scooter, kind of a different class of mobility scooter than your regular mobility scooter. I just call it my little scooter. And in my 6.5 years of traveling, I have now had 5 little scooters. For various reasons, I've had to get rid of one that I had that just wasn't working right anymore and replace it with a new one. That's why I've had 5 of them in just 6.5 years. So I'm going to tell you about those in this video, and also a little bit about my big scooter, which is a Yamaha X-Max 300cc, which goes up to 90 miles an hour. So that's what I use for my local commuting when I'm in a city most of the time. Unless it's a small distance, a short distance that I need to go, then I will use the little scooter. It's a bit of a work to take the big scooter down from the trailer hitch rack and then put it back up again, so I don't like to do that unless I really need to. If it's a short enough trip, a few blocks or so, then I would rather take the little scooter. And I also take it into shopping at Walmart and other big stores, and I hang my groceries in bags hanging down from the handlebars, so I use that instead of a shopping cart. I use the little scooter going through parks and various things like that as I'm making my videos. Now, I'm not really a handicapped person. I can walk just fine, just not very far. Walking a block for me is kind of like walking a mile for a younger guy. So if you're a guy as old as I am, then you will find, I certainly find, that I enjoy my day much, much better if I take my little scooter rather than just walking all day long. So first, let me show you my big scooter. This is the X-Max. It goes up to about 90 miles an hour. Gets about 70 miles a gallon. So it's very good with fuel economy. Very, very nice under-seat storage, so I can get a lot of groceries in there. And I really like it. And I found that I like motor scooters better than motorcycles. I'll go outside and show it to you, but first let's take a look at the little scooters. So this was my first little scooter. I liked it pretty well. The 4 wheels are hard wheels, and the big problem is they're kind of small wheels. It's better to have larger wheels and more ground clearance. But it's got a nice seat. It has a thumb throttle, that little piece you see right there, which I didn't care for much. The other scooters have the throttle like a motorcycle, where you twist the handlebar right there. It folds up very nicely, and I enjoyed it. But what happened was, one day when I was riding it, all of a sudden it stopped. And I never ever could get it going again. I do not know why. It acted like the battery had gone dead, but I had recently charged it, so I knew that wasn't it. Somehow the electronics just permanently failed. Now, one of the good things about it is that it was really good about climbing hills, but it would only go about 3 or 4 miles an hour. That was just top speed for it. That part I didn't like. And you can see the price there. It's the most expensive of all of them. I don't know why they're still that much. Well, there's the website if you want to take a look at it. But I ended up having to junk it and buy a new one. So I traded in on this scooter, which is called a Triax with 3 wheels. And I liked it pretty well. It had one big problem in that with that single front wheel, the motor is inside the wheel. And with the motor in the front like that rather than the back where all the weight is, it was hard to get traction. So many times when I'm not on a solid pavement, it would just spin. The front wheel would just spin, or if it's on something wet or gravelly, it's gonna be hard to get going. And also, it got to a point after, I think I had it for about 2 years, the gears inside that front wheel stripped to where it just wouldn't go anymore. I got a new front wheel, replaced it. It lasted for about a year, and then it started having the gears skipping again. So it's a good scooter, except for the front wheel problem. I wouldn't recommend at all you get any scooter where the motor is in the front wheel. That's going to be an ongoing problem. Well, there's the website, but I ended up having to junk it and buy a new one. So then I went with this one, which cost a lot less, and I liked it. Even though it's a 4-wheel, I do prefer the 3-wheel. It's got a nice, comfortable seat. Now, one problem with this scooter is that when you fold it up, the seat doesn't fold with it. You have to take the seat separately and store that away separately. I didn't like that. That got to be a real annoyance. It was a pretty good little unit, but I didn't have it very long because somebody stole it. It just got stolen, and that forced me to buy a new one. But I stayed with the same company to get the same model, but with a different seat, which I actually regret doing because the seat is just a bicycle seat, and it looked okay on the picture here, but you ride that thing for a while and that bicycle seat gets pretty hard. You see it folded up there. It folds up nicely. I liked it. It's a good scooter, except for the seat I didn't like. I wish I had stuck with the same other model. And I also had a lot of problem with getting flats on these front wheels with the inner tubes. The back wheels are solid rubber wheels, and I had to change those inner tubes and fix the flats so many times. I really hated having to do that. But the big problem with this one is that it would get a bad habit of, while I'm riding it, just shutting down. And it would feel like the battery's gone dead, but I knew it wasn't. It was kind of like that a fuse had blown or a breaker had tripped, but there is no breaker, there is no fuse. So to reset it, what you have to do is plug in the battery charger for about a half a second, and somehow that resets the electronics. So it got to where anywhere I went, I would have to have a bag hanging down from the handlebars, and inside the bag I would have the battery charger and a power station. Because if I didn't take those with me, sure as the world, it's going to stop, and then I have to just walk it back to my motorhome. So with that and the seat problem, I decided to go shopping for a new one. If you're interested in this one, there is the website. It's kind of long. Just go to ephesismobility.com. So I decided to go with this one at that website, and I've only had this one for a few days now, so I haven't had a chance to test it out much, but so far I really like it. I like this better than any of the other scooters that I've had. It's got a larger battery, that right there, and the battery comes out so you can recharge it, or you can recharge it while it's on the scooter. And I'm getting a spare battery just in case that one runs out on a really long day. And it is the least expensive of all of them, only about $850 some. The one thing that really bothers me is that all three wheels are pneumatic wheels with inner tubes, And I just know I'm going to have a lot of problem on all three of those wheels with flat tires and having to fix flats. I don't look forward to that. And it folds up with the seat, so that's nice and convenient. So now I'm going to go outside and show you my last scooters that I still have. There is my motorhome, and there is my Yamaha X-Max. It's 292 cc, 3.4 gallon fuel tank, which will last me over 200 miles. It's 3.5 years old, and I really like this under seat storage. I can get a lot of groceries in there. And here is the trailer hitch rack. I just rolled it up on that ramp. So here's the 4-scooter with the bicycle seat and a small battery right there, that blue piece. And you can see back here how bare it looks because I took off that body part. I like this shelf there, which is good for shopping, carrying some of the big items. One thing I don't like is that when you turn the key on, the headlight comes on all the time, all day long, burning battery power. And as usual, it has a flat tire. I don't know how that happens. But now, most importantly, let's look at the new scooter. It has a pouch back here where you can put things in, and it has a basket that you can hang back here, which I'll use when I go shopping. Now it has tail lights and a headlight, but you can turn them on or off whenever you want. Now, one problem with the seat. With the seat back, there is a big space here that's about 3 inches wide. So if you want to rest your back here, your butt is going to be on this edge here, which hurts. So I'm going to try and find something to put in here, maybe a rolled up towel, to fill that in. It has a handbrake, which really doesn't work terribly well. And it has this lock on the handbrake so that when you have it sitting, that it won't move backwards, but somehow it still moves forward a bit. And that is a removable battery. And like I said, I'm getting a spare, so I can put the spare in that pouch, and that way never have to worry about running out of battery power. And this is one of the most interesting things. It has this display where it shows here the speed. You press this M, there's speed 2, speed 3. This is a speedometer. And I've had it up to, I think, 14 miles an hour. And this is something, it has an odometer. So if you want to sell it later, and the buyer asks how many miles are on it, you know exactly. And if you press this, it goes to a trip meter. Press it again, and it shows you the voltage of the battery. It's actually a 48 volt battery. And then this tells you how full the battery is. It's about half full right now. It has some really nice features. I really like it. I may do a review later once I've driven it a few hundred miles. Good day, folks.